Okay, no okay. Hey guys, welcome to Crafty Friday on SoCraftastic. Guess what? Today is a polymer clay tutorial. Yes, it's a polymer clay cupcake lip balm. So cute! If you're new here, please join the family by clicking the red subscribe button below, and you can also be notified every single time I post a video by clicking that bell icon. Ding! I post 2 new videos here every single week. If you missed last week's, I did a Wreck This Journal. It was my very first one. I am very excited to do more in the series in the upcoming weeks. And I also did an exploding box. So I will link those down below along with all the other things like a polymer clay playlist. Also, if you enjoy any sort of tutorials that deal with fake food, cupcakes, lip gloss, and or polymer clay, then please give this video a thumbs up to let me know. Now let's get on into the tutorial. I'm starting out with a squeaky clean lip balm container. I washed it with a little bit of warm water and soap and let it dry completely after. I got this container from Amazon in a big bag for pretty cheap, but you could also get them from the craft store or even the dollar store. Now take some aluminum foil / tin foil and you're going to wrap both parts of the container separately. So as you can see, I've unscrewed it and I'm going to cover the top part of the lid and then the bottom part of the lid. You want to get the foil as flat to the edges of the plastic as you can. I learned this technique from Nimsy, so if it looks familiar to any of you, that's probably why. I was inspired by one of her recent lip balm videos and decided to make my own design. But I couldn't switch up the foil part. This is necessary. The next supply we're going to be using is polymer clay. I'm using Sculpey 3 brand. It's basically just an oven baked clay, so you have to bake it in your oven in order for it to harden. I squished it around in my hands a little bit to make it nice and soft and workable. Then I rolled it into a ball and I'm going to flatten it into kind of an oval-y shape. Actually, not even an oval, a circle, because the container is a circle. Wow. This is going to be the base of the cupcake, the crinkly wrapper part. So this wad of clay should be wider than the actual container. And once it is, you're going to press the container down carefully into the clay, only up to the ridge part. Try to press this on as evenly as you possibly can so one side isn't really thin and the other one's thick. You want it to be pretty evened out. And like I said, you just want to go up to that lip, and I'm going to show you here on the unwrapped container. I told you I have a ton of these containers. You just want to go up to the part before the ridges. I'm continuing to flatten this out and make it really smooth, and I'm going to elongate the base to make it look more like a cupcake wrapper and not a fat pancake. Right now it just kind of looks like a cat bowl or something. When I roll this, I'm trying to get the bottom to go in more than the top, so I'm kind of rolling at a diagonal. This is my inspiration for the base, but trust me, mine is going to turn out nothing close to this. This is a really old piece from a cupcake lip balm I had when I was younger, and I don't know why I kept it. I think I was gonna maybe make a clay mold out of it, but I'm glad I kept it. Now I have a shape that I'm fairly happy with, although it looks more like a blue flower pot than a cupcake base. So I'm gonna cut off the bottom just to make it a little bit shorter and also to get rid of that nasty hole that's in the middle. Even though it's the bottom, I don't want to have a big hunk of nothingness there. So I'm using a clay blade to carefully cut straight across, and then I'm going to flatten the bottom back out and make it as smooth as I can. Once you're happy with your cupcake base shape, you can go ahead and put the lines on to make it look even more realistic, and for this I'm using an empty Starbucks gift card. And it wasn't even my gift card, it was Craig's, but he gave it to me. He's like, I think maybe you could use this for crafting, and I've used it for this video and my plan with me video, so I guess it's coming in handy. What is your favorite drink or even food to get from Starbucks? Anyway, moving on to shaping the top part of the cupcake wrapper, still keeping in mind that the top of the clay should not come above the lip of the container. So here I am using an X-Acto knife to cut kind of a triangle shape in each section. So each line, kind of carving V's all the way around, zigzags, however you want to look at it, all the same. And it should turn out something like this. Later on I kind of realized that I should have made this even shorter. You'll see what I mean later about how the lid fits over and stuff, but it did turn out fine in the end, so it's not too big of a deal. Now let's move on to the top of the cupcake, which can be either the cake part or just completely frosting for you. I am just making it look like all frosting, a mound of frosting, which I would probably scrape off because I am a weirdo and I scrape off most of the frosting from cake and cupcakes unless it's a whipped, and then still. I covered the lid with the white clay, and you can pick any color for this. You don't have to make a vanilla cupcake. Then I'm adding more clay on top and smoothing it together. You want to make sure that it's pressed on very firmly and there's no holes or gaps in the clay. Once you're happy with the top part of your cupcake, the next step is to take out the container. That is right, we're taking out the container. And this is very important because plastic can melt in the oven. Even though you bake clay at such a low temperature, this plastic probably will still warp, so you want to get rid of it for now. It didn't take me very long to remove the lid. It kind of slid out after a few wiggles and jiggles. Just make sure you have all the foil pulled away. I removed the top of the lid and also the bottom of the lid from the base. And this part might not be necessary because clay doesn't tend to move too much when you bake it in the oven, but I put a ball of foil inside just to be safe so it doesn't shrink in any way. I don't think it will though. At this point, your oven should be preheating and you want to follow the directions on your specific package of clay because some brands have different baking temperatures and times, so you want to follow it very carefully. I laid the top down so it didn't roll around, and then I just set the bottom down like this. And I'm going to bake mine for different times actually. So the base of the cupcake is a little bit thinner, well, a lot thinner than the frosting part. So I baked the base for about 15 minutes and I baked the top for probably 25. Just keep a close eye on it so it doesn't burn. Every oven is different. After it's completely baked and cooled, do not touch it until it's cooled down because you will probably burn your skin and it will not feel good. So wait till it's completely cool and then you can remove the foil. Next, I want to make the cupcake base shiny, so I'm going to apply some Sculpey Gloss Glaze. This step is completely optional, you don't have to do this. And if you're wondering if you can use nail polish, you can. It's not recommended because some brands do dry sticky and I don't know which ones. Or you just skip this step and move on to another optional step, which is if your pieces of clay are dusty and they look kind of like mine does, white is really, really hard to keep clean. Even following all the precautions that you can, you still get dust in it sometimes. So if this happens to you, you can use some nail polish remover with acetone and take a Q-tip or a cotton swab and you can just wipe it away. Okay, next, this is completely optional as well. You can decorate the top of your cupcake with puffy paint or acrylic paint and rhinestones. I'm taking this very light purple and it's just a coincidence that it glows. I wanted a pastel color and all of them were glow in the dark. I didn't want my cupcake to glow, but now it's going to, so cool. I just put this all over to kind of make a drizzly effect, and then I dipped the tip of a toothpick in some water, so just get it a little bit damp and you'll be able to put on the little rhinestones for your nails with ease and use them as sprinkles. You could also use fake sprinkles by baking clay and like cutting it in pieces, but I thought that this would be really pretty. I let this dry overnight before handling it because puffy paint does take kind of a while to dry, and I was testing the top lid to see if it fit in the frosting part of the cupcake. It fit very well. In fact, it's stuck in there and I didn't even have to glue it. So that saved me a few minutes, but the bottom part is not as snug. And here is something I want to show you. Depending on how far up you put the ridges of the cupcake base, it may not screw on correctly, especially if you put those little curvy guys at the bottom of the frosting. So to solve this problem, I took a piece of foam, cut it into a little tiny circle that would fit inside the base, and I glued it down with some Gorilla Glue, which is a very strong super glue. After attaching the foam inside the cupcake base, then I glued all around the sides of the container and also the bottom, and I stuck that in and held it in place for about a minute or two. Once it was secure, now you can see that when you twist the top and the bottom together, it fits nicely and you can see a little bit of the plastic through. I don't think this is a big deal because it kind of looks more realistic this way. Just think of the clear container as the actual cake part of the cupcake and the frosting isn't completely covering it. The final thing I'm going to show you is how to make a very simple DIY lip balm. For this, you absolutely will need beeswax or another type of wax that is safe to put on your lips. And you'll also need some sort of buttery or oily substance. I'm using shea butter. These ingredients here are completely optional, but they will make your lip balm smell a little bit more cake-like. There's really no set recipe for this. What I'm doing is I'm taking 2 teaspoons of beeswax,
and 2 teaspoons of shea butter. If you put more beeswax than shea butter or oil, then your lip balm will be more firm, and if you put more oily substances than wax, then your lip balm will be more glossy. Then I just kind of spooned in random amounts of the cocoa powder and the honey, and none of this is going to go bad, so don't worry. It is food, but it's not anything that's going to rot. You could also use things such as coconut oil, cocoa butter, and even vitamin E to make your lips even more moisturized. After you have all your ingredients mixed together, fill a pan with a little bit of water and set your glass inside like this, and it'll take a few minutes to melt the wax, especially. The wax is kind of stubborn, but the rest of the stuff will be melting really quickly after you have heated up your pan. And once it is completely melted and liquidy like this, you can spoon it into your container once it cools off a little bit. Then I let it cool off for probably 10 to 20 minutes, and right now it's not completely cool, but it's cool enough to film it, but it's going to be about this color. It turned out very smooth and very sheer, so the color is not going to show up on your lips at all. If you do want color, you can add a little bit of lipstick. And there you have it, a cupcake lip balm, and it's super big because I want it to double as room decor, and I also used a fairly large lip balm container. So if you want to make this something that's more portable, you can shrink it down a little bit, use a smaller container, make the base and the top a little bit shorter and everything. Oh, and I never mentioned that I put a cherry on top. I did that way earlier, but I'm sure that you guys caught on. I asked Craig what he thought of my cupcake, and he said it kind of looks like ice cream. I can see what he means, kind of. The Cupcake Lip Balm has officially joined my fake food / sweet treats DIY collection. You guys may recognize some of these. If you're new, I'll put the links to all of these below in the description box, but I've made candles, clay charms, and there's ice cream here, and squishy cake slices, rainbow polymer clay cake.
I just made my lips into a cupcake. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. This is so weird. I was trying out something new for the thumbnail. I was inspired by this photo from Google Images to create this look. Oh, it feels so weird. My lips are so dry, so the thumbnail is gonna be so edited. Oh my gosh. I have sprinkle in my mouth. I'm just eating my lip art right now, casually. Don't forget to check out all the links in the description box below to my social media accounts. I have a Wreck This Journal giveaway going on right now, which is exciting. So you have a chance to win one of those if you want. Then you can follow along with me in my next Wreck This Journal video. Also, my cats channel and my vlog channel are down there. Not posting very often on those right now, but I do have a ski trip vlog to get up pretty soon when I get the chance. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Bye!